we are again in my little kitchen in Lecce in the south of Italy. My name's Francesco. It's Sunday lunchtime. I'm about to make pasta, but I don't have a pot of sauce simmering away. And why is that? Well, because there are 1,000,001 different ways to make pasta than a tomato or a meat sauce. And I'm going to show you one of them. I'm going to use blue cheese and white wine with a little bit of rosemary. I'm going to caramelize a handful of cherry tomatoes, and I'm going to add a handful of rucola. I'm going to sprinkle everything with a little bit of dried and ground orange zest, and it's all going to be made in the time that it takes for the pasta to boil. So it's a very quick, easy, elegant and really delicious recipe. The blue cheese I'm using is called Bergada, but you could use gorgonzola or anything similar to that. And the pasta I'm using is Paccheri, which is my absolute favorite. But any short, thick cut pasta will taste really great prepared this way. So I hope you enjoy the recipe. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below, and do subscribe to the channel and follow me for more. Let's cook. For today's recipe you're going to need your pasta of choice. I'm using Paccheri, rucola, blue cheese, I'm using Bergada, but gorgonzola or something similar would also be fine, white wine, cherry tomatoes, ground dried orange zest, and a little rosemary. The great thing about this dish is that you have absolutely no prep work. So salt your pasta water, as you just saw, with a good pinch of sea salt. Add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil to your frying pan and a sprig of rosemary. When this begins to sizzle, add a handful of cherry tomatoes and a pinch of salt. Stir fry the tomatoes and rosemary together for 3 or 4 minutes until the oil has become infused with flavour from the rosemary. The tomatoes have taken on the salt, and then we just need to add a little bit of freshly ground black pepper to finish seasoning them. After about 5 minutes, we're going to add a good pinch of sugar and then toss them around, keep them moving until they become nicely caramelized. Be careful not to let them burst or burn. At this point, the water should be boiling vigorously, so we can add our pasta. These Paccheri have a cooking time of 12 or 13 minutes, so I decided to remove them after just 9 minutes, and you'll see later that we're going to finish them off in the frying pan with the other ingredients. By now, the tomatoes are nicely caramelized, so we can set them to one side and deglaze the pan with a good splash of white wine. We're going to let this cook away for 3 or 4 minutes until it's infused with flavour from the rosemary and the alcohol has evaporated away. So here we are at the 8-minute mark, and I'm moving the pasta from the saucepan into the frying pan along with quite a bit of the water that it's cooking in, because it's going to continue boiling together with the white wine and rosemary in the frying pan. This phase is very important because it gives the pasta a chance to absorb the flavours of the rosemary and the wine, and also to give off its starch. We're going to add more water and keep it moving the whole time, tossing or stirring. This will let the pasta rub together, and the starch that it gives off into the water in the frying pan will give us a good base to add our cheese to make our kind of sauce that we're going to have the pasta coated with. Before we add the cheese though, we're going to add a good handful of rucola and toss this through until it wilts down. The rucola does tend to clump together a little bit, but just use your spatula and split it up a little. Now add the blue cheese and a little more of the pasta water and mix this in well. The water that you can see in the frying pan at the moment does look pretty thin, but just give it a couple of minutes and it will soon thicken up and become a nice creamy sauce. Make sure to have quite a bit of water in there because it does thicken up a lot and you don't want the pasta to be too dry when you serve it. Now that we have our pasta served up, all we need to do is add those lovely caramelized cherry tomatoes, a little more of the rucola on top, and a last sprinkle of blue cheese. Of course, you can't serve up pasta without some freshly ground black pepper, and then the final finishing touch, a good sprinkle of that lovely dried orange zest. Buon appetito!